Now, this go-home show for Raw, was it good enough to make it interesting? Now, parts of this show I really wasn't totally interested in, so I can say that. But in general, this was a pretty good show. Now, how do I explain this and what part should I go? Okay, I'm going to talk about some of the matches. The Shield versus Tons of Fun, or as I call them, the Dancing Giants. I really wasn't very interested in this. Particularly, they did not zoom in on my Naomi or the Sweet Cameron. I kind of feel bad for Clay and Tensai. You know, I know people are not fully interested in them. The gimmick sucks for Tensai. The gimmick sucks for Clay. If they just booked them as big monster heels, how Brodus Clay was when he was coming up, it would have been better. But they didn't. They gave us the Funkasaurus, and he did what he could with it. Now, teaming him with Tensai, who is not getting anywhere with Lord Tensai at all, they got most of reaction, and the guys are working with it, so at least I can say that's alright. But they don't go anywhere. They're like this. So seeing them go up against the Shield, I didn't expect anything very interesting. They let Brodus Clay do most of the work, and it was Tensai who's the one who had to eat the pin. But you know what? If they had done this like one of the older groups back in the late 90s, like, hell, the National Disasters, even if they were a piece of crap, they were two monster heels that dominated and scared everybody, and that brought together a good face team. As much as people say Tons of Fun is a piece of shit, and I can understand that, if they had structured Tensai and Clay properly and made them heavy, destructive heels, we would have something more interesting. I wasn't interested in this at all. Christian and Kane. Now, I wasn't interested in Christian because he hasn't been on TV for about 9 and 10 months. Kane, I know that he's going in the Money in the Bank ladder match, which is cool. I was bored of the match. It was what happened afterward that was interesting. I'm bringing up the Wyatts now because I had a chance in the last couple of days to look at least 1 to 2 NXT, part of one and the entire of another one. And I find that it's quite interesting. The lighting isn't as great as the main show. The announcers, I still don't know who's working with William Regal. If anyone knows, tell me below. I just haven't seen him. But you know what? It's interesting. I'm beginning to get interested in this product. And seeing the Wyatts come out with the long video segment first. Seeing a Brad Wyatt, or what? Yeah. Brad Wyatt, or Bray Wyatt. Seeing him do the business on the screen, they picked the right person to do it. I don't think the other two could pull it off. They're just silent men that just kick ass. And when it came down to the ring, with that lantern, and it's electric lantern, he Maple Leaf blew out. The other two got into the ring, kicked the shit out of a... Ooh, I can say this. This was actually quite well done. The segment on the Titantron might have been a little bit long, but not by much. It was well done. It was interesting. Seeing Kane get his ass destroyed was good. The crowd was screaming with Daniel Bryan, who I'll bring up in a few minutes. That was good. This can promote a tag team feud with Daniel Bryan and Kane with the Wyatts, which will give us something interesting with Hell No. Eventually it's going to happen. Hell No will come back for at least 1 or 2 times more. I doubt it'll be permanent, but it will be done well. That I have no problem with. And I'm glad the Wyatts were structured so well that I was not bored when I looked at it. The ratings had to go up seeing this. Now I'm going to talk about the matches that were pretty good. The Bryan versus Sheamus match. Actually, that wasn't a great match. I've seen it so many times I was bored with it. But it was something to kind of think about it for a minute. Almost 2 years ago, when Daniel Bryan had just gotten, or was just before he got Money in the Bank, he was getting his head bashed in by Sheamus. Now, Sheamus has to struggle to beat someone that he had no problem to beat before. And then he wins clean over Sheamus, rolling him up from the Texas Cloverleaf. this is a vast difference from almost 2.5 years ago. Is it great? It's not bad. They're really pushing Daniel Bryan. Do I believe that's the wisest thing to do? That's debatable. Because I'm not sure how far they're going to get with Daniel Bryan as a face like this. I mean, they made him more aggressive. Yes, he's not turned heel yet. Maybe Money in the Bank he will. But at this moment, he's still a face because, well, when it came up to it, what did we get? Well, I can say this. Seeing the way it is, Daniel Bryan might be the most pushed as well as the most, I don't know how to say this, questionable main eventer they got. Because most of the people that are pushing for him are not fully casual fans, they're more like RH fans. So this is a questionable push. I don't know if this is going to work very well, particularly if he does win Money in the Bank and he has to go up against Cena. It'll be stupid. I won't buy 1 minute that Daniel Bryan's going to be able to take out Cena. I don't. Now, the next thing, I don't even know why. It's going to be Curtis Axel versus Jericho. Look, I have no problem Curtis Axel going up against Jericho, and it was a good match. I don't have a problem The Miz being there. It actually makes sense because he will be going up against Curtis Axel. The problem with me is this. Why wasn't Ryback seen other than what happened with Vicky Guerrero? I will mention her in a minute. But why? This is where I'm getting the question at. Curtis Axel loses. Okay. That shows it's a chink in the armor. Paul Heyman's there. I didn't see SmackDown, so I didn't see the reason why he got the shiner. But this is the thing. From Jericho to Ryback, the way they structure this, Jericho must win this. It's not that I'm interested in this feud. Actually, I'm not. But the thing about this is this, ladies and gentlemen. If you do not do this with Jericho, while Ryback is this weak, there is no point. Why would you have Ryback win over Jericho where he actually said, I quit the match, before there was an I quit match or a figure 4 leg lock where you had to tap out? There's no point for this. So I don't see anything good from this coming. Unless Jericho wins this, which he does deserve a win on television, it makes no sense. And Ryback is being buried. As I said before, this was the beginning and the end for Ryback. If he wins this, does not mean he won't be buried within the next couple of months. We won't see him. ADR with Sin Cara. I wasn't totally interested in this like the Miz and Axel match, but Dolph was there, and I have something to talk about Dolph and AJ later. But Dolph coming out during the Sin Cara match made it more interesting for me. Sin Cara and ADR did not lose the match. They didn't win the match. The match was just stopped. So there was no clear winner. ADR and Dolph fight one another, and that's what we get going into Money in the Bank. I'm actually going to be interested in seeing how they're going to keep Dolph a face, particularly what happened with AJ later. And I will talk about that in a few minutes. But I see that this, at least, they're giving us something more with Dolph. Dolph needs to be most of the time by himself, and I'm glad to see that. Now, the Mark Henry and Cena segment. I'll say this. Cena has his moments. He's good most of the sometimes, and he's terrible at others. But with Mark Henry, he's always consistent. He may not be like at the caliber of a Rock, but he's always consistently here. John Cena can go up, he goes down. Constantly up and down. Sometimes he has very good segments. Sometimes he doesn't. But Mark Henry's always constant. You can see the vast difference between a veteran who knows how to really talk and get the crowd to be interested compared to a veteran and a John Cena. You have to admit it. He's been there almost 11 years. He isn't always consistent. He goes up. He goes down. He goes up. Sometimes he might be constant. I was more interested in the Mark Henry talking than anything else throughout the night with a John Cena, which was that segment. John Cena makes a line in the sand saying, you want to start something with me? Cross this line, I'll kick your ass. Mark Henry says, are you kidding? For free? He's got a point. Why are you going to do something for free when you can really do something for pay? He tricks John Cena and knocks him out and does the Monster Slam. Unfortunately for John Cena, he could not do the AA. He got smashed onto the floor with the severe weight, which we know that he faked it, of course. This doesn't give me a lot of confidence that John Cena will lose, but it's not something totally bad. John Cena looks weak here. He keeps flinching every time when Mark Henry comes at him. So that still gives us an interest. And unlike Sheamus with Mark Henry, where Mark Henry only got over on Sheamus maybe once or twice, but Sheamus got on him numerous times, they have not done that with John Cena. I am hoping beyond stink they structure this right going to Money in the Bank. The best person to win this is going to be a Mark Henry. Does that mean that's going to happen? I don't know. I'm hoping it is. So I'm going to move on from there. The backstage segment with Rogue Scholars and the rest of the Money in the Bank and SmackDown was nice. I know Money in the Bank SmackDown is going to be doing something this Friday. Of course, they always do. They got to bring him out. But seeing this and then seeing a Fandango get his teeth knocked down his throat by Wade Barrett, was this a bad thing? No. Seeing a possible feud between We the People, Antonio and Trucker, which is Jack Swagger, versus Rogue Scholars, maybe an actual interesting feud. I don't know if they'll actually do it, but it would be interesting to see the Trucker and Antonio Fazzaro working against a Cody Rhodes and Damian Sandow in tag teams. We need something interesting in tag teams. We don't got it. Now, The Shield versus the Usos. I just want to say this. Since it's going to be in the kickoff, you don't know what might happen. The Shield will probably retain. But if they don't, it will be actually quite good to see the Usos win. I'm saying this now because I don't know if I'm going to do a prediction. If the Usos win, I will be actually quite happy because they've been around at least 4 or 5 years and never actually held the title. Everyone and their sister held the title but them. Does this mean they're going to do good? Probably not. I know the Usos have some level of charisma, but doesn't mean they'll actually do good when they're on Raw or SmackDown. I don't know. I won't know until it actually happens. I'm hoping they'll have some good charisma, and it would be good if Rikishi came back to manage them if they win. So I'm going to move on from there. The AJ and Fox versus Kaitlyn and a lovely Layla. Oh, Layla's so gorgeous. The match was short. No winner. AJ and Kaitlyn go at it, and basically Kaitlyn almost knocks AJ's boots off her feet. 100% almost knocked her out of her boots. Does this mean this is going to be a good feud going into Money in the Bank? Might be. At least for the casual fan, it might be somewhat interesting. Sorry, it's very hot in here. I'm sweating like a pig. But seeing the Bellas there, which really I said in the last segment, at least credit was due. Since they're promoting the Bellas more than anyone on that reality show, they had to be front and center. Doesn't mean they were good or not. They did the best they could. This segment, well, on commentary, boring. Oh, Kaitlyn looks like she finally walked off some of those calories. Ha ha ha. Dude, that is the best you can come up with. I don't care if it's Nikki or Brie. I'm sorry. If anyone really loves the Bellas, put up a video showing how good they are. Because honestly, I've said it before and I say it again. There are divas who can, even with a limited amount of time and a small amount of leeway, look way more interesting. And I don't see that with the Bellas. I give them the respect they deserve. Going back to WWE, knowing full well how women are treated in there, I respect them for that. But still, I don't see it. Let me go to the Orton and Punk match. Damn good match. Punk wins. And I believe they get a handshake at the end. Did they do a handshake at the end? No. I think that was Sheamus and Daniel Bryan. I don't remember who. But honestly, seeing that match was good. To see that Orton let him job clean shows that he has changed his attitude. And I'm so glad about that. Then, what do we get? Daniel Bryan coming to knock them both out, climb the ladder to get the Money in the Bank, and go, yes! What does this mean? Daniel Bryan's being pushed the most. Like I said, it's a controversial push. As much as people say on the internet, we need Daniel Bryan there, if most of you are from ROH, and it's not someone who just tries to see a rounder type of product, not just one aspect of the product, it's always questionable for the casual fans. As much as the crowd was cheering for almost everyone in the show, there was great cheers and some decent boos. Still, if most of them from ROH, you're not going to get very far. Because as much as you want to push Daniel Bryan, doesn't mean he's going to do great. Now, I believe I talked about everything. The last thing I'm going to talk about is the Vicky segment, which is going to be in the titles down there, baby. Yeah. I said this before and I said it again. I saw this coming. I saw this coming from the Maddox. We got our job evaluation for Vicky. Vicky basically was screwed, tattooed, and sent out the door. Triple H was totally against her. Vince wasn't. But in the end, it was Stephanie that said, and I'm not fond of the app, but in this case, it's okay. The WWE app stated 75-25, Vicky failed. So she's fired. And Vince saying in his vast experience, knowing what is best for the WWE and for the WWE Universe, I'm going to give you what you deserve. Brad Maddox as General Manager Raw. I cheered my fucking head off. I said, yes! I knew it! It was just, he just looked like a deer. The King said it best. He looked like he was a deer caught in the headlights. Like, it was perfect. That was exactly what was expected. And then seeing Vicky after the segment was over, when Brad tried to shake Vince's hand, he said, no, I gave them what they deserved. Vicky proceeded to kick his ass, smacking the shit out of him, and he running away like a bitch. The only reason he did that is because he want everyone to see in front of the screen that he might be a coward, but behind the scenes, when he rehires, and he's rehiring Vicky Guerrero as his subordinate. I said this before and I'll say it again. Vicky's going to be his subordinate. And when the doors are closed, he's going to say, you know what, Vicky? You try to beat me over, bend that ass over, I'm going to pump it. He's going to basically enjoy himself messing with Vicky. I know that was a little graphic, I'm sorry. But this is the perfect ending for this. We get new blood as the general manager. Even if he doesn't have the charisma everyone thinks he has, it's not that bad. It's something different. It's what we've been asking for. And if he has some level of ability, he can springboard off after that to something else. So, I'll give this a B. I'm giving it a B mainly because of what happened with Brad. And sorry, ladies and gentlemen, my batteries died. Just in case you didn't hear what I said, I give this a solid B because of Mark Henry and Brad Maddox. The matches were not all bad, but at least it leads into Money in the Bank. So I hope you enjoyed the Zane's View. Subscribe and comment to my channel. I don't know if I have time to do a prediction, but I'm hoping I will. And I will be trying to do a new mixed bag of wrestling talking about what's going on in TNA. You have a good day.